So let's just look at what we're going to do. This is our primary part here on the left. It's a ring model. So this model is about 12 inches or 12 millimeters in diameter, about 18 millimeters in diameter, 12 inches wide. And we have several features here that we're going to be machining out. Obviously, in the center, we got this diamond air pattern that goes around the part, and then another offset pattern right next to it. So we're going to be using various continuous four-axis roughing methods to rough this down, and we're going to show you each of the roughing methods available. And after that, we're going to do some finishing. We're going to do finishing in levels, our level finishing, and then we're also going to show you how to rough this out in parallel finishing, because you can use parallel finishing. Even though it's a finishing operation, you can use it very well for roughing as well. So we're going to show you that. After we finish it out, we're just going to do some pocketing, four-axis pocketing in these areas. We're going to do some cleanup passes around the pocketing areas to clean these edges up. And then we're going to show you some different ways to machine these outer rims here. We're going to do, first we're going to do a facing operation, and then on the other side we'll show you how to do a profiling and clean this up just as well as the facing. So in this picture here, if you're unfamiliar with how four-axis works, the green arrow here is our fourth rotational axis. So it points along the the primary x-axis. So the x-axis is actually rotating on the machine bed, and the spindle with the cutter will be moving in X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now we're going to be using another model to show you the drive surface machining, and this is a true four-axis method, whereas the rotational axis and the X, Y, and Z, the three axes, are moving in tandem to machine this part. And you'll also notice that on this picture, the little green arrow here, the rotational axis again is along the x-axis. Okay, and you'll also notice, pay attention to the shape of this part, how it's not actually centered on the rotational axis. And that's a situation where only drive surface machining can really machine this part. And the other methods, you'll notice that the part is centered about the rotational axis. Okay, and let's see what else we got here. In this little picture up here on the right, it gives you an idea of how a typical four-axis machine tool is set up. In this particular setup, we have the fourth rotational axis is on the table of the machine. So if you look at number 4 here, and you look at the green arrow, similar to these parts, the models over here, you'll see that the green arrow begins on the left side, and it runs along parallel to the x-axis right here, number 1. Okay, so there is another configuration where the rotational axis is actually in the head. Okay, but that's not how our parts are set up for this particular demonstration. In most cases, it'll be along the table, and the spindle, just like a 3-axis spindle.
Hey Don, I just want to say a few words about rotary axis being on the head. I mean, it might be obvious or might not be obvious why the rotary axis typically is on the table, because if you can imagine, if the rotary axis is on the head, it can't really reach a lot of places. Right? It can't go under the part. While if it's on a rotary table, it can spin and expose the undersides of the part pretty easily. So the most common configurations we see is the rotary axis is on the table.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep.
All right, Don.
Okay. Okay, so basically that's an understanding of how 4-axis works, specifically in this part that we're going to be looking at today. And down here, we just have a list of the operation types. We went over those in the agenda. These are the operations that we're going to be demonstrating. R-level roughing, R-level finishing, R-level meaning that each cut level is a radius, okay? So it's going to be working its way down at various radii on the part. And we're going to be looking at parallel finishing in 4-axis. And then also we mentioned drive surface machining. We're going to be showing you another part for that. And then facing, pocketing, and profiling. Okay. Okay, I want to pop over to another part to show you the drive surface machining. Okay. Now, if you look at this profile in this part, the problem with this part and the normal 4-axis operations is that in all of the 4-axis operations, other than the drive surface, the tool is normal to the radial axis. Normal meaning that it's always at right angles to this radial axis, okay? And the way this part is shaped, you're not going to be able to get in this area. Now, another thing to remember too is in all of the other 4-axis operations, the cutter will not go past the radial axis, okay? If you tried to cut this with the regular 4-axis, it would actually leave material along the radial axis because it will not go past it in the regular 4-axis operations. So that's why we have this drive surface machining operation where the cutter is not normal, doesn't have to be normal to the radial axis. It can be normal to the surface of the part, okay? So on the table, the radial axis will move such that the spindle remains normal to the surface, okay? And really that's the only way you're going to be able to cut this this particular shape. So let's go into here. We're not going to do any stock or anything. We're just going to go straight in to the drive surface machining in 4-axis. Okay, so for the surface that we're going to cut, we're just going to work our way around these surfaces here. I guess we could just go this way. Just select all of our surfaces around. We're not selecting this face here or on the other end. So you'll see these arrows. These are normal vectors. Normal meaning this is a right angle, okay, at this point on the surface, and this indicates the direction of the surface. So these arrows need to point outward. If they're pointing inward, it means the surface is inverted and you need to change the direction, and you can do that, flip the normals, okay, in and out, or you can select one and flip it. So all the normals are pointing outward, which is what we want. For the tool, we'll just use the ball mill. This part is in inches, so we're using a 1-inch ball mill. We'll go straight to the cut parameters. We have a tolerance of 1/1000th. We're going to be cutting across the part, okay, meaning it's going around, okay, it's going around the part like this. And let's see, we got a step over of 25%. Let's just generate this. We're going a little bit over, but not too bad. Okay, so you'll see here that we have a cut pattern that is on the surface of the part, okay? And the vectors indicates the direction of the cutting tool, okay? and the cutting tool will be normal to the surface at every point that it cuts. So let's go ahead and let's just show you the tool path. And we're just going to work our way around. So pay attention to the direction of the tool axis. You'll see that the entry is normal to that point on the surface. So we're coming in and we're working our way around. At every point, the cutter, let's just go a little bit faster. At every point, the cutter is remaining normal to that surface. So the radial axis on the table is rotating this part such that the tool remains normal to every point on the surface. So we just work our way around. And it's very important that when we go on the inside cut of this part. If you did this in parallel finishing, when you got to this point, it would just retract, okay, because it's not going to go all the way down to the radial axis. But with drive surface, this is a true continuous four-axis tool motion. So the radial axis is finely tuned with the X, Y, and Z axis of the cutting tool, in coordination with each other to get this cutting tool normal to the surface at every cut point. So just work our way around. Now you'll see that it didn't get too close to there. If this was much deeper, it would have a problem, but this is relatively shallow, so it's able to cut it. So it's just working its way around. You'll see it on this side as well. Working its way around. I'm not going to simulate this, but this basically gives you the idea of how the drive surface machining works. The primary difference, the part doesn't have to be centered about the radial axis like in normal four-axis machining, where your part is the radial axis is entirely inside your part. If the radial axis is not entirely inside your part, like if in the regular four-axis, if this part waved around, say some of the surfaces bumped outside of the radial axis, it wouldn't cut those surfaces because it would not go past the radial axis in the normal continuous four-axis methods. That's why we have the drive surface machining, to be able to machine this class of parts where you couldn't machine with normal continuous four-axis methods. So, Joe, do we have any questions? It looks like we're about wrapped.
Not too many questions. I answered a few, but not too many else. I guess it's pretty clear as mud, like they say.
Yep.
Or it's probably the holiday season. Anyway, yep. Thanks everybody for joining, and we will clean this up and send out the video to everybody who's registered, and have everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Another AMS webinar.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Have a nice holiday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.